Speak on it. We are 7 episodes away from 100. D,
Seven of them things away.
what are we gonna do?
We gotta have a guest. I feel like we gotta have a guest for our 100th episode. Maybe we can get Jeff on for our 100th episode.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Get
We're
Jeff
seven
on here.
weeks away. What's that? July-ish? June? Oh no, that's June-ish.
Yeah. Well, depending on when it is in June, I have a wedding. The wedding for this bachelor party I just came to. This wedding is at the end of June.
Okay.
So if it's then, we'll work around it.
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
Summer.
It'd be good. You know. Maybe in our next set of 100 episodes, we got to vow to have like a guest like one guest a month.
I like that.
Maybe one guest a month, maybe two depending on the month. Two during Black History Month, just because. Shout out to the brothers out here. And then maybe like two during Black History Month, two during whatever month the draft is in, which is April, two during the month of the NFL kickoff, which is usually August or September.
Yeah.
Black History Month is usually Super Bowl month, so we got two. That's all we need. But we're gonna start doing one guest a month for sure. I feel like
that's a great idea. Let's do some housekeeping stuff real quick before we go into what we're talking about tonight. As always, this show is brought to you by GoingFor2.com. Head over to GoingFor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs. The basketball season, we're in the final 20 games. We have some fantasy basketball to wrap up. The draft is 6 weeks, 6-ish weeks away. Your dynasty leagues are starting back up in regards to trades. I know D and I are going to talk about a trade that I have proposed to a certain person in our league tonight. And is all shut up. Damn, not with the pause already. We just got started, man. Y'all not gonna pause me to death. No, I'm gonna keep going. I'm listening to you guys in the shower. Dog, turn us off. That's it. We done.
Whoa. Hey man, I guess
no.
Well, I hope you get clean. I don't know.
How you typing us in the comments section in the shower?
I have no response. I don't think I've ever heard that before.
That's a new one for me. But for those who are on the visual adventure, there's a QR code on the screen right now. Play Underdog Fantasy, get $100 deposit match. Promo code GF2. That's G as in going, F as in 4, and the number 2. If you're on the audio adventure, use promo code GF2 to get $100 deposit match on Underdog Fantasy. Bam! I do not want to have a picture of you in the shower. Save that for the missus. Just wash between your cheeks. Get all the dingleberries out, because that's disgusting. D, tonight, ayo, dog, we got to talk about people not washing between their ass cheeks. You got to wash between your cheeks, dog.
What the fuck is going on this broadcast right now? What?
Like, not you personally. I'm just saying, like, the people, like, you have to wash between your cheeks. It has to be clean.
What are we talking about? I don't know what speak on it that most folks were expecting, but this is definitely taking an interesting detour.
I'm not asking that question. We're going to talk about what we're talking tonight. Tonight, we're talking a whole lot of NFL, a whole lot of basketball. March Madness is upon us. We're going to talk about both brackets, men's and women's. The women's one's going to be real short because I can tell you who's going to win. It's not going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the standings in the Eastern and the Western Conference, where we see teams landing. We're going to talk about Joel Embiid catching the Joker in the MVP race. D is considering starting another Dynasty League. We're going to talk about some details on that. We're going to talk about the current Dynasty League we're in and the trade that I proposed. And then I am going to talk about The Last of Us season finale for any of the... It sounds like no one's watching it, but it's a great show. Kyle, welcome to the chat. You've been watching it?
I have not watched it. I did start. It's crazy because we didn't have this on the show notes, and we can get to it when we speak to the Speak On It Cinema. But I started a new show on Apple Plus last night because my girl's Peacock subscription wasn't working. So I ended up on Apple Plus and started a new show that I really liked. I'll speak on that a little bit later.
Sweet. Kyle, welcome. And welcome to everyone that's joining us, whether you're watching the playback, you're listening to us on your favorite podcasting app. D, We're gonna get started in the NFL. We're gonna start with your GOAT, Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers. It's his neighborhood, clearly.
It's his neighborhood. He's dominated the news cycle. Apparently, he's going to go to the New York Jets. We're going to see Aaron Rodgers in the Big Apple. Allegedly, still waiting for him to make a decision. Do you think that a deal gets reached? And is there even a fair deal to get such a Hall of Fame talent like your GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, on the roster?
Man, I'll start with the first part of that question. I do think the time of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers is over. I think it would be very surprising to not only just myself. I feel like to anyone who really keeps up with the Packers, I feel like it. If you really keep up with the Packers and you've been reading in between the lines of not only what Aaron Rodgers has been saying, but what Mark Murphy and and Brian Gutekunst have been talking, this is the end of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. I think that breakup is inevitable. So I think if you're the Packers, though, I mean, clearly you see what New York's trying to do. New York keeps putting out the deal is almost done talk because they're basically trying to get the Packers pressured into taking whatever deal they have on the table. I think the Packers are staying strong and saying, y'all ain't getting them. Y'all ain't getting them for what you think you're getting them. We gonna get something back. We gonna get something back.
Yes.
So I feel like there has to be something that's being worked out on their end. It's just, I guess if I'm the Packers, do you value picks or do you value players most here? I think if you value players, listen, I say you at least get a wide receiver, and I think you get a defensive tackle from the Jets. There's one I have in mind. I don't know if we get him, but there's one I have in
I know
mind.
you're not about to say Quinn Williams.
Exactly who I'm about to say. If you're gonna take our best player, why not? Why can't we take yours? I've always been a big proponent of that. If you're gonna take my best player, why can't I take yours?
One is in his 40s, the other one is like 24.
Game is game. Game is game.
Okay.
So I'm, and we were talking about this, off air. I am not one of those people who believes in the value of these draft picks.
Yes.
I've been watching football a good enough amount of time to know draft picks are so hit or miss because you really do not know if these players or if these people, these college kids, can come and play in the NFL. When you see players in the NFL who can play at the NFL level, I'm more than happy to pay more in that type of situation when you know the talent is proven than trying to get a haul of picks and maybe one or two of them end up working out. You know what I'm saying? Like the Broncos and the Broncos and the Seahawks for the Russell Wilson trade. It's a whole lot of picks the Broncos gave up. You may not see the benefits of what you reap in like next 1, 2, maybe 3 years because you just don't know when they're going to have the team built around Russell Wilson where that's going to be successful. Now you bring in Sean Payton in the case of Denver to hope that maybe you can speed this process up. I don't know because you're still in the division with Patty. You're still in the division with Justin Herbert. Good luck to you.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck to you. So like if I'm the Packers, I don't know if I'm as sold on draft picks. I want proven players. So if I'm them and the New York Jets really want to make this deal, okay, we can make this deal. I'll take a draft pick or two. But Quinnen Williams is going to be wearing a different shade of green. Keep fucking with me. That's what I'd be saying. That's what I'd be saying.
You get on the phone with.
Yeah, I'm on the phone like, fam, like just because proven talent is better than unproven talent, even though people love to dangle picks in front of you. But I know a lot of y'all weren't watching the NBA trade deadline when Kevin fucking Durant went for like 4 or 5 second round picks, dog. Are you kidding me?
That was incompetence.
Like, are you kidding me? I don't like that. So that's where I start there. I like what Kyle's going in the chat. So Kyle says he starts with saying he likes getting Elijah Moore back in the trade package. I think Elijah Moore would be cool. I know a lot of people have also been saying, potentially Corey Davis. I think I'd take Elijah Moore a little bit over Corey Davis, but I think both could be very proven wide receivers. He also mentioned, do the Titans swoop in and trade for Rodgers right out from under the Jets' noses? Kyle, I think this is a very interesting statement because I will say this. if the New York Jets keep putting this out to basically let other people know this deal is done, don't even try to come in. Like they're trying to pressure the Packers into accepting their deal while also making sure that these other teams don't try to come in and make a trade.
Yes.
Kyle, I think that might work to their detriment though, because the Titans can come in and say, yo, we are going to offer up the fucking house. Like house. Because y'all also heard about a certain running back who might be on the trade deadline. Now, granted, tell you right now, we are not trading for Derrick Henry.
No.
In no way, shape, or form. But the Titans got some players on that defense. Or could you imagine a situation where they get Traylon Burks and maybe
there's no way you get Traylon Burks back. That's the whole reason to get Aaron Rodgers there.
What I say? If you're going to take my best player, I'm going to take your best player. Now, in the Titans' case, their best player really might be on the defensive end, which I could definitely see being an option. But I don't know. I think the Titans could be a potential one. The Colts too. Like I don't know why people are just ruling out the Colts being it. The Colts could come with like 102 and a couple other players. I think if you're the Packers, you might have to accept that one.
And you give me a second round pick for a 40-year-old man. Hell let's do it.
I said 102, like the number 2 overall pick.
Yeah, that's what I meant. My bad. Yeah, you give me the number 2 overall pick for a 40-year-old man. He on the way.
He's on the way. He's on the way.
You just give me 2 overall. You know, I don't need nothing else.
If I'm them, I'm like, see, this is how I know this 4th overall. Excuse me. This is how I know. Like this is why, like what I'm saying right now is why I haven't really been making a lot of trades, because I hear that and I say, like, if I'm the Colts, yo, I'd offer you number 4 overall and Michael Pittman Jr. if you'll give me Aaron Rodgers. Like that's what I'm saying to the Packers. I mean, that's what I'm saying to the Colts. Number 2 overall, Michael Pittman. You can have him right now. Swear on everything. You can have him right now. Because they're not going to take quarterbacks. So what are they going to do? They're going to take a very, very, very good player at that. Like, could you imagine they use number 2 overall to get like a Will Anderson?
It'd be 4.
No, I mean 4 overall to get like Will Anderson. So I don't know, man. I like. Just for me, the way I believe in GMing, I believe you sign players who can play and you use the draft picks that you have on potential and just draft well. But obviously, as you can tell, I'm a Green Bay Packers fan and we naturally draft well. Some of y'all's franchises out here don't draft well and don't develop well.
Go ahead and say their names.
Nah, I ain't gonna do it. But there's why y'all are. I see why some of y'all's teams be giving out these hauls, but my team has historically been very good at drafting and developing. So that's why I don't really see the value in some of these earlier picks, like some of y'all out here. So who knows?
I'm gonna keep this short and sweet. Once upon a time, there was this old Green Bay quarterback that went to the Jets. It did not end well. History just
ain't that funny how history repeats itself?
Hey, dog. As long as Aaron doesn't get no Sexton scandals, we'll be all right.
Brett, you a horny old man.
Yo, Brett said just because I'm silverback don't mean I can't blow out the back. You heard me?
This show is off the rails. We are.
Come on, that was fire. That was a fire.
That was a good one. I ain't gonna hold you. Nah, that was a good one.
That was a bar. But I mean, if you get one good year out of Aaron Rodgers in New York, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? You win the AFC East? Like, you still have to go through Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, some combination of the 4. So does Aaron Rodgers, is it worth giving up those assets? Does Aaron Rodgers put you on that level with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals? I don't think so. But I'm not a GM.
Now, I was talking in one of my football group chats earlier today, and I was like, this trade, like Aaron to the Jets would be funny because you have to play Josh Allen twice, you have to play the Dolphins twice, and you have to play the Patriots twice. So already right there, even if like with the roster as is currently constructed, I don't know if you win the AFC East. Then I said, yo, take a step out. You have to at some point beat Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
You have to at some point beat Joe Burrow. You have to at some point beat Lamar Jackson, who I believe is going to find his way back to Baltimore. And when I say find his way, I mean he's going to get paid. And then you have to account for a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're a team like that who's well coached enough to take a step forward with their young quarterback. You have to take into account maybe a team like the Jacksonville Jaguars, who may slump a little bit, but they're likely be the favorites coming out of the AFC South. You have to take into account a team that comes out of nowhere. Like you have to account for at least one worst to first sort of story. Now, could it be a team like the Texans? Who the fuck knows? But you know what I'm saying? You just really never know. Like, listen, shit's not sweet like it is in the NFC and the AFC.
No, it's not. In the NFC, all you got to do is beat some combination of Jalen, Dak, Brock Purdy, or whoever's starting in San Francisco.
Although I don't know if I don't know if the Niners and the Eagles are really the teams to beat, because y'all have been getting gutted today in free agency. But we can talk about that later.
So I mean, let's go to it now. So outside of the Packers to Rodgers, what teams made moves that you either like or dislike?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna start with what I liked and disliked. They happen to come from the same division. Stephon Gilmore to the Cowboys is listen, 5th round pick. That's a steal. That's a steal. Like, if y'all watched enough of the Colts games, Stephon Gilmore won them like 2 games just off of him shutting somebody down. Put him on the other side of Trayvon Diggs with that defensive line.
Nasty.
Again, I say the Cowboys are gonna be good. Like, the Cowboys play anyone in the playoffs last year that's not the San Francisco 49ers. I definitely see them going to the NFC Championship game. They match up very well against y'all. They don't match up well against the Niners. I don't know how that makes sense, because I saw y'all beat down the Niners, but I guess it is what it is. You play to your divisional. You got to play to win your division. So I definitely think, I definitely like the moves that Dallas made there. They also re-signed Clayton Vander Esch. I forgot who else they re-signed. Like their safety, they re-signed. Dallas. I think they restructured the contract of what's the other wide receiver? Michael Gallup, who I have in Dynasty too. I was actually thinking about trying to trade him, but now that they restructured his contract, it seems like both Dallas and Michael Gallup think he's going to take a step forward after his ACL injury, a couple of years ago. So the second year 2 after coming off the ACL injury, is supposed to be the year that you start getting it back. So I might hold on to him and see, how that might shake out. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm watching the Eagles just get their team just ramrocked from under them, and I am sitting here like, hey, yo, dog, I know Howie is good with getting picks and whatnot, but he's letting a lot of talent just get signed elsewhere.
Getting sluttered right now. It's an episode of Blacked.
Yeah. Here at the Speak On It podcast, while we are fans of pornography, this is not a pornography specific podcast. Just want to make sure that's known. But yeah, I've been listening and watching the Eagles moves today, and I'm like, man, they must have a lot of faith in who they drafted. They must have a lot of faith in their ability to draft, because they are letting a lot of talent walk away and get paid. And to that you say, what, my good Eagle friend?
We ain't got no money.
Oh, y'all in cap space hell.
We ain't got no money, man.
Y'all probably have to get ready to start paying Jalen.
Yeah, we ain't got no money. Like, I knew this was going to happen. They re-signed Bradbury, thank God. Now re-signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I'll be okay. The move that I love and hated the most was the 49ers signing Hargrave. Hargrave was like 2nd or 3rd in the league in sacks among defensive tackles. Granted, he can't stop the run, but dog, he not there to stop the run. He there to run the passer. That one hurt. You have
a defensive tackle? You're not there to stop the run?
Yeah, Javon Hargrave can't stop the run, but he can sack the quarterback. But you have a defensive line in San Francisco that has Bosa, Armstead, and Hargrave. Like that. That's disgusting. With Fred Warner behind running clean. That's nasty. And Kinlaw. Like, that defense is going to be disgusting. That one hurt the most. Gilmore to Dallas. I think AJ Brown can still bully Trayvon Diggs. Like Diggs is still susceptible to the double move, but it helps. That's a good signing. And then the New York Giants. See what happens when they have a competent front office.
You like
Get
that
one
Darren
of the
Waller trade?
best tight ends in the game. That is an excellent move. Now you have something that looks like an offense with Saquon, Daniel Jones, Darren Waller. Your receivers are coming back. Wyandotte Robinson's coming back. Like the Giants might be like there's a reason there hasn't been a repeat winner in the NFC East since like 2002.
Now, when I said, remember last year when I said the Giants can only be bad for so long before they have to be good because you just get too much talent to be bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is that time.
Last year I called it, but I didn't think I was going to be that right so early. This is the year where I definitely think they could be like a double-digit win team.
Yeah, so the NFC East is going to come down to the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. Like that. It's the best division in football. We back, baby. We back.
Now you better hope. I mean, can Washington make a move?
No. They made their move. They signed Deron Payne, which was an excellent
Well, they
move.
gave him dumb bread, like
And they
crazy
should
amount of
have.
bread. I was like, oh my. I was like, oh, that's a lot for I ain't hating. Now I will say this, Washington. Y'all must think y'all really have an answer at quarterback by letting Taylor Heineken go to the Falcons to be a backup quarterback for Desmond Ridder.
For Lamar Jackson. Atlanta. What are we doing, baby? Lamar needs to be a Falcon.
No. If I'm Lamar Jackson, I don't want to go play for the Commanders. I'm sorry. They don't take. Listen, that medical staff is bad. That stadium is bad. That owner is bad.
Atlanta?
No, I'm talking about Washington.
Oh, hell no. Who the hell want to go play for Dan Snyder?
I thought you said.
Oh, I misspoke. No. Lamar needs to be in Atlanta, not DC.
Atlanta believes in Desmond Ridder, and I think
why?
Because if you watch the games that he played, he didn't play bad. Now
Is he as good as Lamar?
Sort of like when you were watching the early parts of Jalen Hurts. A lot of people was just like, "Why would y'all even draft this dude?" Then you start giving him some weapons, and you start seeing some flashes. It's like, oh no, he could actually play. So
let's talk about a receiver who just got a new toy. So the Bears made a move. They traded the number 1 overall pick to Carolina for a bunch of picks, including I believe 2 number 1s, a 2, I believe a 5. But the big part is DJ Moore. That was an excellent part of the deal. It all signs that Carolina will be taking a QB 1 overall, but the Panthers are saying they may be open to shopping that pick, the first pick overall. Do you think the Panthers do something here, or do you think they're bluffing?
Man, this is tough. Okay, so when I originally saw the deal, I said, holy shit, that is what the number 1 overall pick can get you? Someone's best offensive player, mad first and second round pick. Like it's a haul. And then like my mind immediately goes to, oh, they must think they basically are trying to get Cam Newton 2.0 and Anthony Richardson. And they saw enough of the combine, and they think that with Anthony Richardson and someone who's a quarterback guru like Frank Reich, they can marry that together and give him a few years, like year 2, year 3, he'll be trending in the right direction. I think that's what the Panthers are thinking. Then I see this report that they still might be shopping the pick. And then it just blew my mind because I was like, okay, well, if you guys are still shopping the pick and you don't know who you want, then what the fuck did you even make this trade for to begin with? But all in all, I'm going to stick with it. I think they're going to keep the number 1 overall pick. I think they're doing this thing where they kind of throw they're just bluffing. I think they know who they want, but they got to keep feeding the media narratives, talking about maybe this quarterback or this quarterback or this quarterback, so that no one that's under them immediately knows what they're going to do. So it keeps them honest. I think Anthony Richardson is about to go number 1 overall in all seriousness. And I know a lot of people out here was like, well, his completion rate in college was like 50%. Hey, bruh. I promise you NFL GMs don't care. I promise you. Like a lot of people out here either don't know what they're watching or don't watch enough film. I promise you, if you watch the film of what this guy can do when you give him if you can watch his college film and see what he can do with mediocre talent, imagine we can get to the NFL and do with like NFL talent, an NFL lineman who actually protect, and an offense that actually throws the ball, not that shit in college. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think he's going to. I think Anthony Richardson's going number 1 overall. I know a lot of people have been also saying C.J. Stroud. I don't listen. I think if you're the Panthers, the way they like to play offense, they want to play smash mouth football. They want to run the ball. I think they're going to bring back Dante Foreman. I think he was a really good pickup for him last year. They're going to, lean on the run. It wouldn't surprise me if they draft Anthony Richardson 1 overall, and this team turns into a run-heavy team, sort of like we've seen with the Bears last year or the last couple of years. And then once you see a little bit of flashes, that's when you really start investing a lot more into the offense. And so, if they trade the number 1 overall pick, I'll tell you what though, they're going to re-up on the picks that they lost. So whoever trades, like if another trade goes down for the number 1 overall pick, this third person is going to this third team may not have another pick for the rest of the draft.
This is the worst bluff ever. It'd be the most bozo thing ever to trade for number 1 just to give it to somebody else. They know who they want. You don't trade for 1 to play around. That is an all-in move. Can't go all in and then stick your foot back out. I don't know what they're talking about. I love the idea of Anthony Richardson going 1 overall. Frank Wright has made a living off what he did with Carson Wentz for 1 year. I'm sure he's talked Panther ownership to say, yeah, I can do the same thing with Anthony Richardson. That's a really cool idea of him being in Carolina. Cam Newton 2.0 probably won't dress as well as Cam, but who can? Because he's Cam. Yeah,
he won't have the hats. He won't have
the hats.
Yeah,
but this is a terrible bluff. Just we know who you're going to take. We don't know who you're going to take. You know who you're going to take. Again, you don't go all in just to back out unless you get blown away. But who's going to do that? Who's going to, if anything, everyone's talking to Houston right now.
Really?
Hold on. Let's look at the draft order.
Now, Bam just said maybe they want Lamar down in Charlotte. And so I'm curious.
Not for the number 1 overall pick.
But what if the Panthers traded for the number 1 overall pick to then try to use that as a trading mechanism to take to Baltimore?
And the Baltimore Ravens are the smartest franchise in football. You gonna give me 1 overall for Lamar Jackson? He on the way. On the way.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd send the number 1 overall pick away for Lamar Jackson?
I wouldn't, but if someone walked up to me and was like, yo, I have the number 1 overall pick, give me Lamar Jackson. Okay, I don't have to pay Lamar Jackson. I get to start over with a quarterback that's going to be cheap for 5 years. Yeah, let's do it.
Why everyone want to? This is my okay. Again, this goes back to my earlier point about how I want proven talent over the draft picks. Why? Like in my opinion, it makes 0 sense to trade away the most important position on the football field and in the organization for another guy that's going to take you a few years. Like, why start over when you have the guy right here?
Because I don't have to pay that guy coming in $200 million guaranteed.
Hey, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. And why are we also this is another thing, and I'm not talking to you when I say this. Too many of you couch GMs be worried about how much overall money. Let me tell you something. When you hear about these NFL contracts, don't shit mean shit except for the guaranteed dollars.
Yeah.
Don't shit mean shit. And let me tell you another thing about NFL free agency. 2 years. 2 years. Just know that in 2 years, whoever you got excited for that your team traded for, they're either going to be a cornerstone in that franchise or they're going to be released in 2 years.
Unless they get hurt.
But
Bam made a good point that the non-exclusive tag means 2 first-round picks, dog. Carolina comes up to me with the first
1 overall, and then
let's see what else they have. Do they have 2 first-round picks this year, or they have to give up next year? Looks like they would have to give up next year's first-round pick too. Yeah, let's do it. And I love Lamar Jackson, but sign me up for that.
Mm. I mean, I would only. I don't know. That's tough. I think if you're, I think I'm with you though. I think if you're Carolina, like you traded up for this number one overall pick. You know who you guys want to take. You want to take Anthony Richardson. Just know if you take Anthony Richardson, yeah, like some of these other quarterbacks, I feel like they need to be in a better situation for them to have success. I think Anthony Richardson, with the right QB mentorship and Frank Wright, will eventually have success. You know, like I think Anthony Richardson's ceiling is higher, but his floor is lower than the other
Yes.
QBs in his draft class. But I feel like he has the highest ceiling. So if I'm the Panthers, I swing and I miss. At least you know if you guys stink, then you fucking stink, and you got Andy Dalton, backing him up. That can also help. So if I'm Andy Dalton, though, I don't know if I'd want to sign with the Carolina Panthers knowing they're about to spend the number one overall pick on a QB, but he probably got lied to. So.
He probably just want to earn this check. Bam said
Oh,
something. Say what?
I was also going to say another thing I noticed in free agency. A lot of the free agent signings in the NFC South was the NFC South taken from the NFC South, which lets me know everyone in the NFC South is petty as hell. Everyone.
And mid. Bam said every owner is a billionaire, but now they want to penny pinch when it comes to paying their franchise player. Bam, you don't become a millionaire by spending millions of dollars.
Yeah, Bam. Have you learned nothing? Learned nothing from Donald Trump and his time in office? He
Hello.
basically said, "Yo, to stay rich, you got to not pay people and not pay your taxes." Boom,
Hello.
boom.
Hello.
And shout out to all. Listen, all I'm gonna say is I thought Mans was a scammer. I thought Donald Trump was a criminal. And then I started kind of doing a little bit of research. This guy, when it comes to finding tax loopholes, ain't really nobody better.
He's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, boy, he is he is the Jay-Z of tax loopholes, and y'all need to respect him as such when it comes to tax loopholes and tax loopholes only. I'm not talking about nothing else about him respecting outside of finding tax loopholes. It's actually very impressive. Keely also said the Panthers are taking Bryce Young. So I was going kind of back and forth with one of my great friends, and shout out to my boy Drew. We start going back and forth about Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud versus Anthony Richardson. And I said, NFL, I said, I started with Bryce Young. I said, if you've seen the quarterbacks that Frank Reich loves coaching and wants to coach, then you know Bryce Young is not being taken number one overall. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He doesn't fit the mold. He's not big enough. And I mean this in think about the QBs.
Pause.
You got to think about the QBs that you've seen Frank Reich, coach recently and had success with. Carson Wentz, the Matt Ryans of the world, bigger in stature QBs who you need a couple men, you need a couple tacklers to take down. This is slowly just people. This podcast is slowly going off the hinges. I think Bryce Young is, yes, he's 5'10", and I don't think that's a hindrance on his game. I just don't think he has the physical stature that the Panthers would want at number one overall. I think you got to put Bryce more in a situation where maybe the receivers are there. They just kind of need a quarterback to grow and kind of put the ball exactly where they need it. So think teams like it wouldn't surprise me if the Saints mess around and traded up to get Bryce Young, something like that. So CJ Stroud, I think he's going number 2 overall to the Texans. I think he fits that culture, and I think that's exactly what D'Amico Ryan's going to want to do. Now in the chat, I'm getting a whole lot of pauses off a couple of my sentences.
Big pause.
I'm gonna need y'all, Bam and Keely, I need y'all to do me a favor and unpause me and actually press resume because I will not be paused today.
You want to talk some basketball?
I mean, what do you think? If you're number 2, or if you're number 2 overall, if you're the Texans, if you're the Colts at 4, like where do you see, like how do you evaluate CJ Stroud and Bryce Young, assuming that Anthony Richardson goes number 1 overall, like I am?
For me, it's always a lot. For me, is how do they play against the best competition they faced? Right, Bryce Young won a Heisman. He played in the SEC, which is an NFL farm team. So to me, that's really impressive. Not to say CJ Stroud didn't do great in the Big Ten, because he did, but I know what Bryce Young can do when the lights are on and the pressure's on and everything's on the line. He can deliver. Now, granted, Alabama has that, they have great talent around them. A lot of people who play at Alabama will also play on Sunday. So that's something you got to put into account. But Ohio State has had great receivers for that. It feels like every year Ohio State, and there's a
Puts out
receiver.
one.
Yeah, they put out one that's going to do great things in the league. So it just depends on what you're looking for.
So, what do you say to the people who are worried that Bryce Young, being the size that he is what maybe may scare some teams off because they saw what happened to Tua last year?
I mean, they're valid, right? For everyone talks about, for every Drew Brees and Doug Flutie, there's a Tua. There's someone who gets broken up because they're too small. So, like, I get it. And I mean, Bryce Young, the only injury he had was last year in the middle of the season. I think he missed like the Tennessee game. I would be hesitant to draft Bryce Young, but I would do it. Like, if it's between, like, if Richardson's gone and it's between Stroud, Young, and Will Levis, I'd probably go Young, Stroud, Levis. I would probably go Young, Stroud, Richardson, Levis if I had to, like, rank them.
Will Levis, I just need to know whoever your PR team is.
Dog, he's big and white and can throw the ball far. He don't need no PR team.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. He has all the intangibles. That's when they love to say, "Yo." When draft analysts get to talking about the intangibles, just know it's kind of racy. It's kind of racist in a way.
Just
The
like high
intangibles.
motor. High motor.
Yeah. High motor. Like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Who don't play football with a high motor?
Black people.
Apparently. So Keeley says that Bryce Young is a superstar in the making based on his decision-making instincts and big playability. His size is the only concern, and he doesn't have a rocket for an arm. Those are two big concerns, though, at the quarterback position in the National Football League.
Depending on where he plays. Like, if we're playing in Chicago and you don't have, or Buffalo and you can't throw the ball far, yeah, we need to have a conversation. But if we in Carolina, like, we going to Tampa, we going to New Orleans, like, there might be 1 or 2 games where you play in the elements.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Bam says Will Levis is Zach Wilson all over again.
I don't know about all that. I just
listen, Zach Wilson. I'm gonna just pray for you, my brother. I know you're going through it right now.
Zach going through. He about to get his blessing. He about to sit behind Aaron Rodgers for a year.
Make that good backup money as a first
maybe
round.
Learn a thing or two. Yep. Hey, Zach Wilson, this is a blessing. Take advantage. Let's talk some basketball.
Let's do it.
So, coming down the stretch, NBA playoffs, so roughly 15, 20 games left in the season. The East Conference, the Bucks continue to have a strangle on the number 1 overall seed, and the Celtics over the Celtics, but they're struggling a little bit in Boston. In the West, on the other hand, the Nuggets on a bit of a free fall. They've lost 3 in a row, but they're still in the 1 seed for now. The 4 through 11 seeds in the West are still separated by a couple of games, and it changes every single day. D, what team or teams in the West are you worried might free fall out of the playoff picture? I know your answer because it is my answer, but I'll let you start.
Now, I don't know if your answer is the same as my answer.
Oh, I bet it is.
Well, one, I'm going to start with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to fall out of the playoff picture, obviously, because they're in second. But man, listen. If I'm the Grizzlies, man, I know they got to protect they got to protect their brother. They got to protect their franchise player. If I'm the Memphis Grizzlies, I'm just hoping Ja Morant can recover and get better sooner rather than later, because brother, they need you out there. They need you out there. But I still think they're gonna get to the playoffs. I still think they can win a playoff series. The Dallas Mavericks. I am so confused on what the fuck is going on. So confused on what is going on in Dallas. Luka and Kyrie is not what Mark Cuban thought it would be. And somewhere in Brooklyn, the Nets GMs are a few more games away from just really laughing, saying, "Y'all thought I was the crazy one. We told you." Another one is the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm at a point now where I'm just gonna say Zion Williamson's not coming back for the rest of
No,
the season, bro. And
no.
we are gonna listen. He got about a quarter more of a season with this sort of thing, injury thing, before people start asking, "Are we sure about him?"
Shit, we here now.
Oh man, are we?
We here now.
Talk to me about it then.
Dog, when has he played over 50 games?
With a hamstring, bro. And the thing is, every time he goes back to be reevaluated, every time he gets reevaluated again, it's always worse than what it was
It's
before. So
always
now I'm
worse.
confused. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like between the medical staff, Zion Williamson, what are you doing? So yeah, I would say the Grizzlies a little bit, but really the Mavs and the Pelicans, fam, I'm worried. Warriors, I think y'all gonna make the playoffs, but I think you're gonna waste everyone's damn time. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think the
Okay.
Warriors are gonna waste a lot of people's time.
There's only one correct answer, and it's the Dallas Mavericks, the only other team that's in the middle of a 3-game losing skid other than Denver. Luka and Kyrie are hurt. Even when they play together, they can't guard for anything. The Mavericks have a history this season of building double-digit leads and then just watching it evaporate because they are all matadors. Jason Kidd hates Christian Wood for some reason, and Jason Kidd thinks we're morons. At his press conferences, saying the stupidest shit that comes to his mind and thinking we're stupid. I can see why the Bucks fired him after 2 years. I can see why the Nets fired him after 3 years. Mark Cuban, I hope you get him out the paint. What does Ti say? Expeditiously?
Expeditiously. Why do you think that Jason Kidd feels that way about?
Oh, let's give a couple of Jason Kidd bangers from this year. When they were, what's his face? When the Lakers were going on like a 22-2 run to take the league, Jason Kidd said, "Well, I'm not going to call a timeout to stomp a run. Let them figure it out." Great job, coach. Awesome coaching. Jason Kidd keeps asking about Christian Wood, and he keeps insisting that Dwight Powell is better than Christian Wood and that Christian needs to continue coming off the bench, even though when Luke, and Kyrie on the floor, like they have the best offense ever in the NBA. Jason Kidd thinks we're absolute morons, and I hate it. Get him out of here
So,
yesterday.
so my question to your point on Christian Wood is his beef with Christian Wood that on the defensive end he's just not there yet.
Oh, shit, he's the best defender on the dog. You gonna tell me like if I'm Christian Wood and Christian Wood protects the rim, he's a decent defender. You're not gonna tell me my defense is mid while Kyrie and Luka over there doing
Yeah,
God knows what.
yeah, but that's their job is to score points. I think I think if you're Mark Cuban and Jason Kidd, you look at it like, yo, Luca and Kyrie are the bucket getters. So just off of that, everyone else has to find their way in.
Let's see. Let's see where Christian Wood ranks in blocks per game. Because Christian Wood does a good job protecting the basket. There we go. Blocks per game. They still inflating Jaren Jackson Jr. stats.
You think? Hey, they say Defensive Player of the Year is the only award that's a clear runaway. We all know who's going to win with Jaren Jackson Jr. winning that one.
Yeah, so Christian's not that good. Uh-oh, here comes another bot.
There we go. Capable Stage wants to offer promotion of channels, viewers, and followers. Hey, if you're out there and you need some channels, viewers, and followers, go to Capable Stage. I don't know you, Capable Stage, and fuck you.
Blocked. Get the fuck out of here. But anyway, he thinks we're stupid. Jason. And the sad thing is, we're going to get at least another 2 years of Jason Kidd. Remember when I talked about earlier this year, there's going to be a time where Luka is going to walk into Mark Cuban's office. He's going to say, "Hey, man, I want out. Add this to the list. Jason Kidd is a moron." So that's going to be another one. When Luka demands a trade in 2 years, it's going to be you traded for Kyrie. And right below that is Jason Kidd overstayed his welcome because that's next.
Oh, how quickly they change on you. Last year they was in the conference finals, maybe a couple games, maybe a couple quarters away from going to the NBA finals. This year they get on a little bit of a skid, and everyone's talking about fire the coach.
So
Ooh,
Jason Kidd,
fans are sick. Whoa.
historically, Jason Kidd does great his first year, and then he falls off.
Was last year his first year?
Last year was his first year in Dallas.
Listen, all I'm saying is, oh my, how the tables be turning and fans be quick to get you the fuck out of here when
Yep.
the winning don't come.
We
And
don't
now I
have time to
see,
waste.
why professional coaches be looking like they have not slept and are on cocaina at every press conference because boy, they be going through it.
We don't
Um,
have time.
with that, I don't know if anyone out here has noticed, but Darvin Ham looks a lot less stressed out there.
Crazy. I'm telling you, I hope they get the 8 seed. Like, I hope we get Denver Lakers round one so y'all can get that fraud out of here. Speaking of that fraud, we're going to talk about the MVP race. Is Embiid catching up to him in this MVP race?
Yes. Yes. I just feel like if you're a basketball fan and you've watched the Sixers play basketball and you've watched the Nuggets play basketball, in my opinion, this is what you say. Joel Embiid, when you watch him play basketball, is easily the best player on the floor, and he's dominating the entire game. When you watch the Nuggets play and you see Jokic, you say, that guy's pretty damn good, and he's making sure everyone gets theirs while also gets his. Like, so I watch the Joker play, and I say, I see why you win your MVPs. You're nice, bro. When I watch Embiid play, I say, bro, there's no one can stop him. Like, no one. Shaq, I understand now why you mad at Steve Nash and won't let that one go, bro.
Dog, here's how you talk about the MVP race. During the NBA All-Star game, players got to draft their team. Embiid went one overall. Jokic went second to last, and he drafted himself. The players know that man is a fraud.
He's not a fraud. He's
He
just
is a fraud. I don't
he's
care
not a fraud.
about
I ain't
his
gonna, I ain't gonna, I ain't
VORP.
gonna,
I
I'm not
don't
gonna
care
say
about his Raptor. I don't
no.
care about his whatever stat you've made up to make him sound cool. That man is a fraud. Zach Lowe, interesting enough, said he leads the league in kick balls at 45.
Who?
Joker.
Really?
Second player behind him only has 17. For those who play basketball, when do you kick the ball? When you lazy and you don't want to play defense. He is lazy. He doesn't play defense. He is a matador. I don't care how many assists he has. I don't care how cool his full court passes are. You know why they're so cool? Because he lets someone get a layup and then he tries to throw the ball down the court. They're cherry picking. We made fun of LaMelo Ball when he did it in high school, but somehow I'm supposed to praise Joker for it. No, sir. How can you catch someone that you're not even close to? Joel is the MVP.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely way closer than I think it's getting closer and closer by the day. And about a month ago, everyone was just so assured that Jokic is going to win his third. And now I think when you watch the game and you watch both teams play, you're like, yo, the Sixers since the beginning of the year have been nice. Joel Embiid and James Harden are like the second coming of the late great Kobe and Shaq. And I mean, they just hooping right now. And I just like Joel is really a problem, yo. Like, he is really a problem.
I heard this stat the other day. Joel Embiid is averaging 33.4 points a game. There are only 3 people since the merger who have averaged more.
One of them was
Kobe,
James Harden, too.
yes, Harden, Kobe, and Jordan. What are we talking about, man? And let me step
At the
back.
center position, too, by the
At
way.
the center, he's the only big to average that many points, more than Hakeem, more than Tim Duncan, more than Dirk.
And they all won an MVP.
And they all won MVPs. Let me take a step back. I'm talking like Jokic is trash. He is not. I've said on the show before that this is the year out of the 3 that he's earned MVP. This is probably the year that he's earned the most because he's actually winning for once instead of being the 6th seed and falling out.
And he's averaging a triple-double, which we've seen a guy win an MVP off of averaging a triple-double whose team was not as successful on the court as Jokic's is right now. So just off of that alone, I can see how he ends up maybe being MVP again this year.
All I
If we
know
gave it to
is
Russ for finishing 7th in the West averaging a triple-double, then what do we say to the dude who's averaging a triple-double and his team's been first in the West all year?
What MVP gets run off the floor at the end of games because he can't guard the high pick and roll?
Some might say, how did Russ win that MVP averaging a triple-double when my man can't make a three to save his life?
That's fair. I'm with. Hey, I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying, last year in the playoffs, all I remember is the Warriors running the MVP off the floor at the end of games because he can't guard anybody.
Well, that's because you're also talking about a team that has two of the three greatest shooters of all time, and Jokic was. He's just a defensive liability. Like you can't be out there with them many shooters that they got and think you got to do something with it.
You can't be the MVP, and I got to take you out the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. You think Luka coming out the game?
No, he's not.
You think LeBron You think Giannis coming out the game?
No, he's not. He's not. I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. And also, Golden State. Just touching back on it. Listen. Y'all are getting close to not being able to really throw up them foes anymore. Because ain't nobody going to give a fuck about them foes real soon. If y'all make it, if the Warriors end up in the play-in game, please, I guarantee you, no other team is going to care about them four that y'all won. It's going to be, hey, brother, what have you done right now? Fuck that shit from last year. Y'all won last year, but what are y'all doing right now? It's going to be tough for y'all to keep throwing them foes in people's faces, talking about rings, and then this year y'all end up in the play-in tournament. Ain't nobody trying to hear that.
No.
Ain't nobody trying to hear, respectfully speaking, too.
Not even respectfully. I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Yeah, I mean, they ran your team out the gym, so yeah, I understand that.
Does Joker deserve 3? No, he does not. Easy question.
Man, when you make someone... So Keely's right. Joker is not a bad player, though. He's easily one of the 10 best basketball players in the world. The problem is when you give someone 3 MVPs in a row, what you're saying is this guy is unequivocally not only the face of the league, but the best player in the NBA. And that I think is a lot of what a lot of people's argument against Joker is this year. It's a lot of people are saying, hey, bro, hold on. Now, Joker good and all, but 3 MVPs in a row?
You didn't give Giannis 3 in a row.
And some might say he's better than Jokic right now.
A whole lot would say he better than Jokic, right? Giannis the best player in the league.
You never gave Bron 3 MVPs in a row, and that's the greatest player ever. Kobe only won 1 MVP, and a lot of people think he got robbed multiple times. Yes. Jordan never won 3 MVPs in a row. Like,
what are we doing here? Stop watching basketball with your calculator.
And stop watching basketball only via highlights. Like, I need some of y'all just need to watch the game more. I promise you, the NBA is one of the better sports leagues to watch if you're just bored and you want to switch between games. But that's just me. That's just
question for you, D. There's been again, like we talked about, playoffs are around the corner. Timbers are flaring. Last night there was a little bit of kerfuffle in the Bucks Kings game. Lopez left the floor bleeding. He had a Band-Aid on during the press conference. You think first of all, you think anyone really gonna fight? And how much pressure are these players feeling because the playoffs are coming?
That's actually 2 great questions. So, one, I think the little kerfuffles that y'all keep seeing every other night in the NBA, I think you should expect to see them through the end of the regular season because, especially in the Western Conference, a lot of these teams are very close in standings, and a lot of pride is out there on the line. A lot of pride is out there on the line. A lot of players who feel like they should be making the playoffs this year, they're on teams where maybe they haven't had the team success they've wanted to. So do I think people going to start throwing hands? No. But I think these little face-to-face, chest-to-chest, macho machismo, talking a lot of shit, I think y'all should expect that every night because now you know real hoops is here. When the All-Star game ends, it is only nothing but real hoops. And with real hoops comes real hostility. If you've ever ran pickup basketball, you've probably almost seen a fight or 2, maybe almost break out. Now imagine in basketball being played at the highest level, the type of shit talking you got going on out there and the type of potential physical altercations. Lonzo Ball said it best, bro, this the NBA, ain't nobody really fighting. But they out there talking that shit, and they is getting some shit off. no one really wants to talk shit in October, November, December, and half of January. That back half of January, from like January 15th to the All-Star game, you might see some shit start popping off. Some people might start talking shit. But when All-Star game ends, it's like, bruh, you know where you're at? Hey,
let's do it.
Let's do it. And maybe that's when players start playing real defense. That's when players start talking real shit. Yeah, I think the added pressure of the playoffs, especially in the Western Conference, seeds 4 through 11 are separated by like 2.5 games, bro.
Yep, it's time to fight.
Like, players, be for real. There's a lot of pride out there, man. A lot of pride. You talk about people's jobs, bro. All it takes is a team not making the playoffs for like 2 or 3 players to end up having to find new destinations. And all it takes is a team making the playoffs for a team to be like, well, we want to bring this whole team back. Y'all fucking with bags now when it comes to these playoffs things. Everyone thinks, and this is not just the NBA thing, everyone thinks that in the NBA, NFL, MLS, MLB, all these teams' goal is to win championships. All these teams want to do is win championships. I think a lot of y'all need to wake up and smell the coffee that a lot of teams out here do not care about winning championships. They care more about putting product on the field and staying competitive. The only way to stay competitive is make the playoffs. You make the playoffs, people still get fed.
Yep. Exactly. I think you said no one's going to fight. It's fun though.
It's
the pressure of the playoffs. I mean, I'm trying to think. The only person who really talks trash all year round is Steph. Steph might be the only guy who he gonna say something in October, he gonna say it in January, he gonna say it in March, he gonna say it again.
Draymond Green in there, Dylan Brooks, we got to put in there. There are players who,
Dylan Brooks, I know people hate him,
and listen. At first, I thought
he
it was
is hilarious.
I'm like, at this point, bro, listen. We had to go through that shit when Draymond was getting his shit off. He was talking that cashmere. And then he started winning rings, and now everyone's like, oh, he's just an emotional player. Yo, the Grizzlies at some point are going to win a championship with John Morant in this group. Maybe. It's a matter of when. It's just a matter of when, bro. Talk your shit. And even if they don't, bro, we're talking about NBA players. If he's out there guarding the best people's best guard or wing player every night, talk your shit.
With that being said, continue to pray for John Morant. Glad he's not rushing back to the court. I'm glad he's thinking about himself.
Do your thing, Ja. You got to repair that image, and you got to get yourself right, brother.
So let's transition to college basketball. The brackets have been released. Games start Thursday. We're going to briefly tell our Final Four for the men's. I'm going to talk about the women's bracket very briefly. D, who is your Final Four on the men's side?
Listen, my Final Four on the men's side, I'm going to go Alabama.
Okay.
I'm going to go Kansas. Houston. I think Houston bounces back after a tough conference championship. And I'm going to put Gonzaga in there.
Oh, no. Why do you keep falling for the Gonzaga? Y'all going to learn. Y'all going to learn to keep trusting these.
With an honorable mention to UCLA, because I also think UCLA has a good enough squad to maybe make a run.
Y'all going, all right, keep putting your money on Gonzaga. You're going to keep getting your heart broken. For me, I got Bama, K-State, Texas, and Kansas. I have Texas beating Houston in the Elite Eight for Battle of Texas. I picked K-State because the Big 12 is the best conference.
Yes, they
basketball-wise for the year. There's something to be said about that. And K-State, I don't know. That was just my upset semi-Cinderella, but the rest of the teams make sense to me. Brandon Miller, you got to stay in the game as long as you can, because the police gonna be waiting for you when this is over with, my brother.
Ain't him. He ain't do nothing.
Listen, you cannot take a gun to a murder scene and not get charged with accessory. I know I'm not a lawyer.
They've already said he's not going to be charged anything.
That's crazy. That is bananas. Like, if I drive you to go commit a murder, I'm an accessory.
But you didn't know. He didn't know, and he won't there for it. I can
bring the gun to the scene of the crime, and that gun is used to murder somebody.
Hey, man, I'm not touching nobody with no guns. Pause. So
and you're on the scene when the murder happened.
Yeah,
it's not like he came. Hey, dog, here's your pistol. I'm going back to my room. Hey, dog, here's your pistol. I'm gonna sit over there.
I'm not trying to be insensitive to the young lady who lost her life. I'm just saying I don't think my man knew that that dude was about to cap shorty. So
Why else would you text me and say, "Hey, yo, bring the strap"?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have these answers to these
Dog,
questions.
deep. I text you and say, "Hey, dog, bring my gun."
Listen,
On another note, thank you, Kyle, for keeping us up to date with curling.
thank you.
Brandon, I'm going to say his name is Goucher.
Boucher.
Goucher became the first skip. I don't know, is that Skip Bayless to lead his team to
I
a
think it's a,
five?
a curling term.
Yeah, okay, thank you. First skip to lead his team to 5 Breer championships. That's
Okay.
dope. Thank you, Kyle.
Okay. All right. What about the
Um,
women's bracket? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. This is all I got. Virginia Tech's a 1 seed. South Carolina, the best team in the country. And that's my national championship. Fuck it.
You are correct. Gladys is right. South Carolina and the Dawn Staley Invitational. I will say the bracket that Virginia Tech in is extremely interesting because you have a 2-seeded UConn. I would love to see Virginia Tech get UConn out the paint, but I would not be shocked to see UConn in the Final Four. The other bracket, the Seattle bracket, has Stanford and Iowa. The young lady from Iowa is an absolute
Caitlin Clark.
flamethrower. Say what?
Caitlin Clark's her name.
Yeah, that's her name. She's a flamethrower. The NCAA tournament is all about guard play. I would not be shocked if she led Iowa to a Final Four appearance to get smashed by South Carolina. The South Carolina bracket is really not that interesting. It's South Carolina versus Field. Norfolk State, congratulations. You won the MEAC tournament for the first time. Now you're going to get sacrificed to Aaliyah Boston and Dawn Staley. Enjoy the trip. Happy you came. And then in the Greenville bracket is extremely interesting because Indiana's your 1 seed. There's a lot of parity in that bracket. I think Indiana pulls it out. The only competition they really have is Utah, maybe Villanova. But I still think South Carolina wins. I don't think it's that interesting. Like
It is
Gladys
so
said,
funny how on the women's side of things, there is not a soul on earth out here thinking that South Carolina is going to lose.
like
They is thumping everybody.
South Carolina
Thumping.
has professional level talent on the bench. Like we talk about Aaliyah Boston, which she's a beast and she'll be number 1 overall pick. But like they just have Dawn Staley has built a juggernaut. They're going to win. I just want to see Virginia Tech get Gino out of the paint. That would be hilarious. And I want to see
Nice.
Iowa Stanford in the Elite Eight. I am looking forward to that game. Um, D, you want to talk about Trevor Bauer? I am not familiar with the baseball. I will let you.
Listen, here's all I'm gonna say. People, if you ever think professional sports are about anything other than wins and losses, look no further than Trevor Bauer, who is currently playing in Japan right now. After his allegations, he signed a deal to play baseball in Japan. All this tells me is that somebody in the MLB tapped him and said, "Yo, dog, go over to Japan, play a few years over there, get your name right, and when it's real low, I'm talking low, 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 we're gonna sign you back and we're gonna deal. We're gonna deal with that PR when it comes. But by then, if you've kept your image so clean, we can manage it." And I say all this to say to all you dummies out here who sit there and tell me or speak on these sports teams like they are Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, they are not. They're in the business of winning games and putting product on the field to generate revenue. They do not care about your moral obligations.
Nope.
It's not at the top of their bracket of things that they give a fuck about. Matter of fact, it's being morally sound is like a 16 seed in the tournament of things that companies actually give a fuck about. I just wanted to say that. Sorry.
What's the Adam Silver mean? Time to learn Chinese, buddy.
Yo,
It
man.
would be Japanese because he's in Japan.
And Adam Silver funny too, by the way. That whole clip is funny. Every time I see it, I just geek the fuck out, yo.
Last thing in the quick hitters, we talked about this last week, but we wanted to bring it up again. You are interested in starting another dynasty league. We have 10 in the one now. You want to start another one with 12, but you want to make this one different and fun. And we've been brainstorming ideas on how to make this fun. This year we have a lot of people watching. We'd love to in the comments let us know some ideas that you have of how to make this dynasty league fun. 12 teams. I voted super flex. I said some things last week. I forgot. I had one suggestion last week, and I forgot what it was.
I think last week you mentioned I think one quarterback and 10 flexes.
Yeah, that was it. Like one quarterback and 10 flexes, and you let people build however they see fit.
Yeah. I whoa. Bam says all flex, which is interesting.
Okay.
Kyle says an auction startup. I guess I don't know if I've even done an
What's
auction
that?
league.
What's an auction
Feels
stuff?
like an auction is like when everyone starts with like a supposed salary cap, and you got to bet on players, and
Oh,
whoever
hell no. No,
and whoever
sir.
gets it. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I ain't doing
I
that.
definitely want to get back into a 12-team league that's good, that's here to stay. So um, I don't know. Superflex, I don't know, because two QBs, it's always it's just an interesting thing for me. It's a concept that I haven't really fucked with before, but for a 12-team league, you might have to do that just to give some disparity between pick one and pick 12. Um, Kyle, I'm not against the auction because I think you get the players that you want. So I don't know. Superflex with a tight end premium. I'm curious on what that means. Does that mean like as a tight end they score more?
That'd be interesting.
You know, so I don't know.
D.
Also, if anyone's interested in potentially joining a 12-team Superflex league, feel free to DM me. Uh, DM me and let me know if you're interested or not, and if you have any ideas. I'm slowly starting to put the league together, but I just kind of want to get some ways on how I can, make the scoring more interesting, make the rosters more interesting. I think as I look at my 10-team league, it's very interesting. I think what I wish I could do, what I wish I could have done more in this 10-team dynasty league that Danny and myself are in, is encourage more trading. But I also think that with how deep I made the rosters, it's hard for people to want to trade, and there's also a lot of people a lot of people in the in that 10-team league who put a lot of value on picks, and I am not one of them. So that's always tough. So
Talking about me. Speaking of
uh,
which, speaking of that league, I made you a trade last week, and it was fair, and you turned me down.
fair is subjective to everyone.
The trade machine said it was completely fair.
Okay, first off, I don't know who the trade machine is. I know my machine.
Okay.
My machine goes. Listen, to anyone who watches that's in our 10-team dynasty league, I want you to know proven talent is usually the first way to get me. Kyle almost had me with T. Higgins. This close. I almost pressed the button on the T. Higgins, and something just told me to just wait on it. I will say Kyle has had the best luck out of getting me to trade, because he was offering me someone that I was like, it's a good one. Actually, I asked him about T. Higgins, and then we got into the dynamics of it a little bit. Uh, Bam, I offered you a first round pick for Christian Watson. You turned that down, and that is when I knew I'm not trading with a lot of people in this league. I offered a first rounder for a first rounder.
Yeah, I'd have took that.
I don't. Um,
But I get it.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, if you're interested in joining the 12-team league, hit my DMs on Twitter, on Instagram. We'll talk about it. But feels like a 12-team league is definitely on the way. And can I be honest with you, Danny? I honestly don't know if I want to. I honestly don't know what I want the buy-in to be. But part of me doesn't want this buy-in to be large.
I don't
Or
either, dog. I
like,
spend a lot of money on fantasy
I
messing with
like
you in your leagues.
part of me actually, believe it or not, kind of wants to get a trophy,
Okay.
and the winner gets the trophy every year. Logistically, though, I want to figure out how I would send a trophy to the winner every year. But I'm thinking about getting a trophy, like a big trophy, and having it mailed to the winner, and then like getting the nameplate every year. So maybe the buy-in would be enough to cover the cost of the trophy, and maybe the shipping fees. But that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Uh,
Cal said, "What do you guys think about the trade Keely and I made? Are we talking about the
that
Brees
was the
Hall trade?
yeah, that was the Brees Hall trade.
You know what's funny?
Hold on
I've
before
been
you guys
trying.
go. Bam and Gladys. So championship belt would be nice, but I already have a league that wins money and the championship belt. I just feel like that's a little copycat. Danny's also in that league too.
I am. I almost won. I lost in the finals.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm glad you're here, Keely, because I've been trying to talk to you about Jamar Chase or AJ Brown for a very, very long time, and you keep ignoring me. What did I have to do?
Oh, I also saw Bam said you know Christian can play. Yeah. Yes, Bam. I know Christian can play. That's why I offered you a first round pick and you still turned it down. I threw my phone across the room. I said, bruh, this is a real life first rounder, and he didn't want a first rounder back for him. Oh,
Wait, what? Big Act put Jamar Chase on the trading block. When that happened?
that's crazy. Y'all about to send some great NFL players out the door for a bag of chips.
Listen, D, I need you to chill out.
Nah, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, yo, it's not like I can do anything about trades anyway. There are no trades get rejected in this league. All trades are accepted. So y'all make these trades. Just know one half of y'all's got to really sit in the stench that is some of these trades. Thank you, Bam. Draft picks. Okay. Draft picks are worthless. Now draft picks are worth. Yo, dog. Now draft picks are worthless. All right, man.
Hey, I am a believer in both. Like I have a
Yeah.
decent roster, but I have a lot of draft picks.
Ikili said, I build a borderline super team off picks.
Listen, man.
That's why you don't have any picks right now, my man. He got like 2 picks all year or this draft. I don't know.
But look, I control the draft. I got 3 first rounders.
That is true. Listen,
Y'all trade your first round picks to me. Give them to me.
also, if to anyone in this league who thinks Jonathan Taylor is just someone's about to get Jonathan Taylor off me for the low just because my man was a little injured last year, y'all are crazy.
Would you take your pick? Would you take your first round pick back for Jonathan Taylor?
Didn't I try to offer you that?
No. You have never talked to me about Jonathan Taylor.
No, that was Derek. Derek
you ain't never put Jonathan Taylor in my face.
You're right. I did say Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry for 108. Got to know. I said, oh.
Oh, Derrick Henry up there. I need another back.
He's man.
He has more carries than anyone in the league not named Zeke Elliott and Mark Ingram.
And yet Zeke Elliott was nowhere near the top of the league in rushing yards. Derrick Henry always finds himself at the top of the league in rushing yards. What are we talking about here?
I give you Jonathan Taylor for 1.8 right now.
Yeah. Ikili said, I got an offer for ETN for a second and a backup running back. See, that's the type of shit that make me want to
Yo, who did that? No, Ikili. Call him out. Who did that?
Nah, that's the shit that makes me want to fight people, bro. That's that
Yo, who did that? No, dude, out them. We need to out that person.
But I'm going to let people know right now, it's more than likely that unless you are trying to trade with me for like proven talent or you're going to give up a haul of draft picks, more than likely the 4K Trey VT Hokies are not trading with anybody. We will just continue. We will just continue to build through the draft. And
that's right.
As free agent, a lot of y'all are making trades without seeing how free agency pans out. Crazy. Because all of a sudden, Allen Lazard is looking like the wide receiver 2 for the Jets, with Aaron Rodgers likely at quarterback. So his security blanket is going to be there, which already means that my trade with Danny last year for Allen Lazard is already trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
My trade for Michael Gallup with Gator J is already looking like it might trend in the right direction. The one big thing I wanted was a wide receiver 2 to complement Tyreek Hill. All I need is 13 to 15 points for my wide receiver 2. Tyreek Hill and the rest of my squad can do the rest in this league, so who knows. Danny, are you ready to speak to the cinema before we get out of here?
Yes.
All right.
Would you like to go first?
I would, because I told you at the top of the show, I started a show on Apple TV. The show is called, I don't know if anyone's out here watched it. It's on Apple TV. It's called Shrinking. It has Harrison Ford, and it has the main character from forgetting Sarah Marshall, who I think is also in, who's also Marshall in How I Met Your Mother. I'm forgetting his name, but I think it's actually kind of good. I think it's actually kind of. I think it's a really good show. It's about a therapist who's grieving his wife who died maybe about a year or so prior, and it's kind of a comedy because he's trying to kind of get his life back together. He's been a mess since the passing, and just going through the life of being. He's trying to be a better therapist, so on and so forth. I've really enjoyed the show. Want to shout out my boy Drew Hicks for putting me on. Jason Siegel is his name. Thank you, Kyle. And Kyle, we did talk about that trade, but if you didn't hear me, I said that Hall trade that you made. I mean, I wasn't mad at it. I can understand that trade.
I liked it.
I can understand that trade. That trade makes sense to me in some way, shape, or form. It makes sense to me. Like, it wasn't. Listen, Greg is the only person in the league that just offers trades that like irk me to my soul, and
I
no
will
one's
say
traded with
though,
him.
y'all be in this league making me sound like I'm some sort of shadow GM. Every deal that I offer is fair. I'm not out here trying to rip people off. I just want to say that. Because D, you low key be trying to drag my name in the mud.
I didn't say anything.
Every once in a while,
Not me.
I
Not
am a
I.
I am a fair GM and I only offer fair prices for
Now look
players
at your
across
man
the
Bam.
league.
I ain't said nothing. I ain't said nothing. Your man.
Bam, you offered me a first for Christian Kirk. What was I supposed to say? I didn't bring that trade to you. You bought that trade to me.
So wait a minute. In the eyes and movement of Bam, he is saying Christian Kirker's worth a first round pick, but Christian Watson
So
is not.
here is the context to that Christian Kirk trade. Bam was in a win now mode. He did not care about those picks. And I had some receiver depth. And I said, sure, I'll take an extra first round pick for Christian Kirk.
Okay.
What? No, dog. What low ball offer? Every trade that I've sent has been fair. What low ball offer did I send you, Achilles? Tell me what.
Tell the people that trade offer you sent me for Tyreek Hill.
I forgot. It was your first round pick. It was Mike Evans, and it was something else. Like you were
No,
getting
that was it. You offered me Mike Evans and 108 for Tyreek Hill, and walking
trade
through the
machine
airport.
said that was fair.
I was walking through the airport, and I thought you was high. I thought you was high.
Trade machine said that was fair.
Yo, fam, tell that trade machine to kiss my ass, yo.
Trade machine said it was fair.
Listen.
I run every deal I make through the trade machine.
Honestly, this is why I'm starting a 12-team league, because now it's really gonna make y'all have to start making better trades. 10-team league, you can do a trade like Christian Kirk for a first, and you just kind of got to accept that someone accepted that one. Not in a 12-team league.
Oh, so Bam's talking about our redraft league. Hey, dog. He came to me with that. He said Jalen Hurts is here. And I said, shit, let's talk.
Is he talking about the Joe deal?
Yes, he's talking about when I got Jalen Hurts.
He didn't win the chip though, so
I lost by like 10 points because Jalen was hurt. Hey, I'll do that trade all over again. I still want some money.
listen, I'm trying to win. I'm currently trying to win my fantasy basketball league, bro. I'm in a big matchup this week to hold on to the number 1 overall seed. So I don't have my road looks a little bit like the Milwaukee Bucks and not the Boston Celtics.
There you go. Oh, we talking about the cinema. Last of Us season finale. Beautiful for those who love the game. HBO did just enough to add intrigue, but was still true to the game. I thoroughly enjoyed season 1. I wish we had more infected. Like in the game, there are more bloaters, there are more clickers. You know, most zombie or post-apocalyptic shows are about humans being the real monsters, not the zombies. I understand that. But we watched The Last of Us to see how you would bring those zombies to life. And I don't think we got enough of that. That is my only critique of the show.
A lot of CGI in that. That's probably why.
No, the zombies are real. In The Last of Us, like the clickers and the bloaters. No, that's not CGI. Those are people in makeup and costumes.
That's expensive too.
That's true. But your HBO.
Hell, they would listen. They said they learned their lesson from Game of Thrones, dropping a million an episode. They said, "Hey, we ain't giving all y'all this type of budget."
That's fair.
All right, my brother.
D,
Let the people know where to find us, man.
you can find us on speakonit_pod on IG and Twitter. Again, feel free to send your email, your questions to us, speakonitpod14@gmail.com. Speakonitpod14. Send us your questions. We can answer anything you want. It can be about sports. It can be about dating. It could be about food. Daylight savings time is here. I plan on making burn ends this weekend. It'll be a lot of fun.
Good stuff.
Find me on the Bird app, Danny Ocean 41. Everyone, thank you for stopping by. This has been one of the best episodes I can
Yep.
recall. You guys were live in the chat. Even if you were calling me a bad GM, I still appreciate the time that you took to hang out with us.
And tell a friend to pull up, and we can keep chatting, especially when we get into our more sports like debates. Love hearing all the input. Hey, make sure y'all follow the kid at Los D Mix. That's LOSDEE. No, LOSDEEMIX. Oh, brother, I can't spell. It's that. Listen, people, I just spent the last 3-4 days in Vegas. I don't even know how sober I fully am. There's probably alcohol still in my pores. But it was a good time. It was a great time. Danny, I mean,
see you next week.
See you next week. We getting closer to episode 100, people.
Yeah, email us. What do you want to see for episode 100? Speak on the pod 14@gmail. Tweet us, DM us. What do you want to see for episode 100? Do you want to see a guest? Is something you want us to talk about? Our favorite moments, like whatever you want, let us know. And we out.
Thank you. Love. You already know. Go speak on it if you ain't spoke on it. If you speaking on it, speak on it.